Hey everybody, welcome back to Illiterate Book Club. I am Matt.
I'm John.
And this is going to be his review of Zombieland Dos.
Double Tap. The Double Tap.
I did not get to see this because I saw, I'm going to mess up the name of it.
Maleficent.
I can't even say the name, but I saw the movie. Yeah, so I saw that, and he saw Zombieland. I'm really excited to hear about this movie.
Yeah, and if you're excited to hear about Maleficent, then I'm sure there's a link somewhere to that video.
Right, depending on which one gets posted first.
Right. Anyway, but let's get to Zombieland.
Okay, go ahead.
So this is, of course, a sequel. Took them 10 years to do it, but...
Right. Was it worth it?
I think so. Okay. I think so. And I'm usually try to be pretty gracious with sequels. Like, I know people are going to go into this, and it's not going to be the same as the first one. They use a lot of the same tropes. I mean, they have the really cool intro using a Metallica song. I'm not going to say which one. Okay. And then they use they have the rules. They have of course the zombie action that they do. Mm-hmm. Celebrities showing up. A great cast in this movie.
That's for sure.
And then some fun twists and turns. So like any good sequel, they have to push the story forward in some way, and I think they find some good ways to do that. As far as introducing relationship tensions, and then introducing a different type of zombie threat that's happening, so it's not just standard zombie anymore.
I think that was alluded to in the commercials, because this is a spoiler-free review, but they did say something about they're getting faster or something along that line.
And so you have like a classification of zombies going on now, where it's not just generic zombie, it's this type of zombie and that type of zombie, and so you have the Jesse Eisenberg narration that happened in the first one, and he does a really good job with that. So it's all those things, all the things that were good about the first one, they kept in it, and they found ways to twist it, and they found ways to make fun with themselves, and they make fun of even they make mentions of things of the culture of they live in a world where ever since 2009, there's been zombies. Mm-hmm. So there's this great scene where they're kind of making references to things that have developed in the real world, but they're kind of like, oh, that's kind of crazy. I don't know that would actually happen. Those kind of jokes.
Right. Yeah, I can see how that happened. And I think, that was somewhat alluded to in the trailer. So. But that's cool. So I know it's a big ensemble cast, but would you consider anybody a particular standout, or do they just all play well together? I mean, they did, and not to give any big plots, but there is one of the characters that sort of goes away, and that's alluded to, right? Oh yeah. It shows the girl, the sister walk.
She kind of goes away, and so there isn't as much on her.
Okay.
And it's okay. She does good in the scenes, and she's really funny, and the characters she's with have funny scenes, but they really focus on the core three being Eisenberg and Woody Harrelson and Emma Stone. Right. And so they're hilarious together, and they introduce more characters with them. They have that funny thing that they alluded to in one of the plots where they basically meet their twins. Yeah, like a doppelgangers. Right, the doppelgangers of their characters. And there's a really funny scene with that. And there's also another obsession of Tallahassee, that's not Twinkies. Okay. It's not as big of an obsession. That was something that was really fun in the first movie, that he had this obsession for Twinkies carrying him through.
Arch that carried over.
That just carried him through. They didn't quite go that far, but it does have some fun, quirky obsession that he looks at in this movie. Okay. So again, like any sequel, there's a little bit more put on character development. And we already know these characters. So I think a lot of people are going to, as the refrain that I hear a lot with sequels is, well, I like the first one better. Yeah. Well, that's usually because you didn't know those characters. This movie style was a whole surprise. Zombieland is very unique in that there aren't many movies like it.
Yeah, I think the one that I can kind of, reference that was a little before that, to me a little bit better. I like both. I love Zombieland, the original, but I guess Shaun of the Dead. Yeah,
Shaun of the Dead. I mean, as far as zombie comedies, you don't have a lot of that. I think also you can think of Kick-Ass being both sort of that irreverence and taking things that are known to us and twisting them in a funny way.
Yeah, for sure.
And so you have that kind of thing. So it's, and like Kick-Ass too, again, you know the style, you know sort of what's going to happen.
Right.
It's not going to surprise you in that way. So,
right.
So, take it for what it is. You're getting to visit the world again.
Okay.
And you're getting to get a little bit deeper into the characters and see a little bit more fun with them.
Right. And I think that's kind of and we won't keep dragging this out, but I think that's a kind of a interesting point that you made, because I think with the reason why a lot of times people don't seem to like the sequels as much is because the sequels are dropped right about 2 years later or 3 years later, especially if it's a big hit.
Oh, yeah.
And so them going back into the world and kind of rehashing stuff just feels like, oh, we're just rehashing stuff. Whereas they did wait 10 years. There was a hungering for this. So for them to rehash stuff, it kind of was, you felt it was earned to a
sure, and they took their time with it, and it's a good solid story arc.
Right.
Like I said, it's nothing you're going to be terribly surprised by.
Right.
But it's just going to be fun. Like, I wouldn't go in there being too critical of it. It's a fun comedy zombie movie.
So it sounds like to me that
you're trying to pull one on me. It's not going to work.
Sounds like
it's
to me
nothing like Endgame because it actually makes sense.
No, nothing like Endgame. But it sounds like to me that 10 years ago, a long time ago, they had a great movie.
Yeah.
And now 10 years later, they adopted a lot of the same tropes and brought you back into the world with characters.
You know what they didn't do? They didn't repeat the exact same story over again. Like Star Wars did. I knew you were going there with it. This is better than Force Awakens, but that's coming from a person who really doesn't like that movie for a lot of reasons.
Sorry, that was too good to do. So what's your score, man?
Oh man, I'm gonna give this an 8. It is funny. It is fun to watch. I mean, there are it didn't have quite the same edge as the first one, not just because of its repeated kind of coming back to the world, but some of the jokes didn't land as good as the first one did.
Okay.
But it's still hilarious. It's still fun to watch. And I would go back to see it, and I would, encourage anybody who liked the first one,
for sure,
go see it. Solid 8 out of 10 for me.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited about that. If you're excited, drop in the comments below. Let us know. Be sure to like and subscribe, and see you later.
Peace.